There's lots of important elements that go into making a good dissertation. It's about good ideas, it's about consistency, it's about motivation, it's about understanding literature. But one of the things that underlies all of that is your supervisory relationship. And in this video, we're going to unpack that a little bit more and give you some good tips, tricks, quick hints and advice for how to make the most of that relationship, to make sure that your meetings with your supervisor are as productive as they possibly can, but they're also focused on building a good relationship with them. So far in these dissertation help videos, we've focused on how you can break your dissertation down into little bits and pieces. And instead of seeing it as this one huge project that you've got to do, instead you're going to see it as a week-to-week task. So you can just tick tasks off, and then eventually that's going to create a full dissertation. And now we're moving on into the other elements, which is all about thinking about how you can best manage that process. So here are some top tips, tricks, and advice for making sure that you get the most out of your dissertation supervisory sessions. So I thought it would be best to start this process by talking to some colleagues and thinking about what their experiences were with supervisory meetings and what made for really good students and what made for less effective meetings. And one of the things that came up first was that students who do well are often the ones that come and they are most prepared. Now, what that means is the least effective way to turn up to a meeting is for it to be a bit of a surprise. So sometimes it might happen that a student might come in and it feels as though they've only looked at their timetable 5 minutes before and they've gone, oh, I've got a dissertation meeting. And then they go along and the first 10 minutes is almost them trying to work out what it is that they want to achieve out of the meeting. That isn't really a good use of your time. What you're going to do before you get to your session, and this can be either right before, or it can be the day before, or it can be after your first meeting. But what you're going to do is you are going to get yourself prepared. To get the most out of your meeting, you're going to need to think about what's come before, what you want to get out of the session, and what you want to get after the session. And this is actually a surprisingly small amount of preparation. The bare minimum to make for a really good, productive supervisory meeting, I would suggest, is making sure you've got notes from the last meeting. What were your action points from the last meeting? What did you say you were going to do? What were the particular hit points that you wanted to get to? And have you achieved those? If you haven't, no worries. Let's just explore what you can do to help do that better in the future. But you want to make sure that you've kept those notes, and you may even want to send a shortened version of those notes to the supervisor in advance. So figure out, what did you do beforehand? Then think, what do you want to get out of this meeting? Go to the key milestones that you found in the module handbook or via your seminar tutors. What do they say that you should be looking to do in each one of these meetings? If it's your second supervisory meeting, for example, should you be turning up with a skeleton structure for your literature review? Should you be turning up having done a couple of interviews with people? What is it that you're actually needing to go along with, or what should you be going along with? When you've done that, as well as, of course, going along with the required preparation, go along with some specific questions about it. What do you really want to know about your work? And ask for constructive feedback. So maybe you're going to be verbally walking your dissertation supervisor through what you've done so far. Ask them for their opinion, solicit their advice on what it is that you're doing particularly well, but also what you might not be doing as well on. So good students are always the ones that come and they are prepared, and they are also asking for specific feedback. In doing this, it means that you're taking an element of control in the meeting. What it's showing is that you know what you're doing. It shows that you are interested in your project and you want to get the very most from this individual with expertise who's sitting in front of you. The best way of getting the most from them, of course, is having that conversation about your specific work. And what you can therefore go with is a clear agenda of what the topics are that you would like to discuss and any specific questions that you've got. And you can email that to them in advance, or you can run it by them just so they know what to expect and they know roughly what the structure is going to be. You'll find once you've done that, that you'll get so much more, and the information that will come out from it is so much richer than it would be if you went in and you go down and you say, okay, what was it I was meant to do today? What are we doing? Those meetings will go by so quickly. They'll go by within a blink of an eye. Whereas if you go and you're prepared and you go and you take notes through that session and you're keeping an eye on the time and you're making sure that you are moving a conversation along if you've got what you need from it, that is ideal behavior when it comes to a dissertation student. Also, you can speak to them about your aspirations, your aims, and what you'd like to develop on. Are you looking to get a first-class grade in this dissertation? Okay, cool. If you want that first-class grade, that's fantastic. But where are you normally working? Are you a student who normally is achieving a 60? Are you normally a student that's achieving a 65? Are you normally at a first-class grade? If you're not where you want to be, then what you need to do is have a good conversation about how do I get there? Because with the dissertation, because it's such a long project, there's going to be various little bits and pieces that you need to make sure that you get right from the beginning. If I want to improve, if I want to be excellent, if I want to excel, then how do I do that in this project? So with this, what you're then trying to understand is what is their expectation? What are their expectations of you, your aims, and your objectives? And if you can be very clear on that, it means that you can always act with purpose. And that means that when you're asking for feedback, that feedback will be as helpful and as constructive as possible. And overall then, what you're focusing on with your supervisor is building a good relationship. This isn't just a transactional thing that you're going to be doing. It's not just task-based. It's about you also getting to know each other and getting to know each other's likes and dislikes when it comes to your work. It's about developing a sense of rapport. It's about developing a sense of conversation, because in discussion, in negotiation, in deliberation in your ideas, that's where the gold is going to come from. So it's about building that sense of rapport and wanting to go in with doing that and wanting to go in to create an actual relationship with them. Alongside that, what you'll be achieving, therefore, is showing that you are so interested in this project, that you want this project to do well, and you really want their help to be able to work through those ideas together. You're showing that you're dedicated and that you're interested. And for supervisors, there is nothing better than someone that is excited about their projects, because it makes us excited and we can match your enthusiasm. And if you come in and say, I've done this amazing piece of work and here's all the elements that I'm excited by, fantastic, we love that. Don't ever be disheartened when you get that sort of feedback that might say, great, you've done a really good job here, but this is the areas that still need developing. Your supervisor always has your best interests at heart. They're there because they want you to achieve the most that you possibly can. So always take that feedback on with the sense of it being constructive criticism. They're telling you this because they want you to do better. So with your relationship building, remember, as well as it just being a transaction, it's much more. It's about a relationship that you are building between two humans. And that, again, is such a fun part of the dissertation, because you are going to get to know each other so well. All right, so that's part 2. And in part 3, come back and we are going to be talking about how to get high marks, but more specifically, we're going to be talking about something that underlies all well-marked dissertations, which is having a good argument. So come back after the break and we're going to be talking about how to have a good argument in your dissertation.